The Unbelievable Life of the Woman They Call Octomom. It was a controversial time for her and her croaker as they entered a lot of flack for going ahead with the gestation despite the pitfalls. Nevertheless, they did admit a lot of support from other people. That said, the entire nation was clearly curious about the family. It's a good thing Nadia wasn't the type of person to give up when the going gets tough. Keep reading to find out how the entire family is doing. What could they be over to these days? A big family. Nadia Suleiman always pictured of having a large family. She's the only child of indigenous parents, which caused her to crave the emotional attachment that she didn't get when she was a little girl. This is the reason she wanted to have a large posterity of kitties that she could reign with all the affection in the world. Still, there was no way she could have anticipated this desire to come to reality in such an inconceivable way. Anyhow, of whether you consider it a contestation or a phenomenon, it was delicate to read a commodity of this magnitude. Getting a mama. She had only come a grown-up when she embarked on a hunt towards fatherhood. After she entered her high academy parchment from her California birthplace, she wanted to get started on the trip to make the life and family she always wanted. Still, the youthful woman also wanted to attend council like her peers. Nevertheless, she decided to prioritize her desire to come to a mama first, as this was a commodity she wanted her whole life. As the old byword goes, be careful what you wish for because you might just get it. Nadia was a youthful woman, maybe still a little naive in those days, when her want was granted. Let us just say that she might have overdrawn her prayers. Nadia's first love. She was a youthful woman in her early 20s when she first met Marcos Gutierrez. He was a yield director with enough charm to attract the attention of Nadia. It didn't take long before the connection turned into a commodity deeper, commodity meaningful. The two fell head over heels for each other. From the veritably morning, she has expressed how important she wanted to have kitties. It wasn't a problem in the morning since he felt the same way. Sorely, the stars mandated that the couple wasn't meant to have children together. A risky occupation. Nadia earned her psychiatric remedy license from San Antonio College in the same time that she married Marcos Gutierrez. After the momentous occasion, she began working at Metropolitan State Hospital, a psychiatric installation located in Norwalk, California. She planned her job to be satisfying, but it was also enough delicate. It also came with certain pitfalls for Nadia. Although she made family her main thing in life, she also wanted a meaningful career to have a solid place in her life. Unfortunately, there was a woeful event in the plant that changed the direction of her life. Tragedy strikes. Nadia Suleiman passed an intimidating event while working at the psychiatric installation on September 18, 1999. Indeed, worse is the fact that she was at the dead center of the fire. 20 cases at the installation partook in a hoot, so Nadia interposed right down. During the middle of the commotion, a womanish case took a rustic office and threw it into the air. Tragically, it landed right on Nadia's back. She suffered a herniated slice injury from the fire and entered workers' compensation that amounted to. This quantum helped her make ends match for some time. Still, her attention was diverted by commodity differently in no time. A thing delayed. Thanks to the injury she entered at work, Nadia suffered emotional torture in addition to physical pain. The plutocrat she was granted as compensation clearly made effects a lot easier, though there was another pressing matter in her life. During the incident and indeed after it, she planned it hard to fulfill her lifelong dreams. She and Marcos Gutierrez had been hard at work trying to achieve her dream of bearing children. They kept trying and trying, though the result was the same without fail, they still had no baby. This was the time they approached a medical professional to get some help. Harsh verity. They actually visited multiple croakers, and they entered quite a lot of advice and tips about getting pregnant. As you can see, they were devoted to this thing. They stuck to the instructions they were given, but they still couldn't conceive for some reason. Their failure was hard on Nadia and she started to lose stopgap, eventually suffering from depression. At long last, still, they learned the unfortunate verity. Supposedly, they weren't doing anything wrong per se, Marcos Gutierrez was simply sterile. When they came to the consummation that the natural system would not lead to generality, they began looking at their druthers. Nadia kept pushing the issue since she truly wanted children of her own. She figured that if the old-fashioned system wasn't going to do the trick, it was time to consider other ways. She was fully in favor of experimenting, but her hubby didn't partake the same sentiment. The opposing view they had on the issue began to pull them piecemeal. Still, Marcos gave her claim when Nadia brought up the idea of IVF or in vitro fertilization. The medical procedure involves the implantation of a fertilized egg into the uterus. This is done outside of the mortal body, generally in a test tube. Marcos also told her that it was over if she pursued this procedure. A delicate choice. This situation made Nadia feel equivocal feelings. She had to choose between her lifelong dream of fatherhood and her love for Marcos. It's easy to understand that this was a delicate situation for her. Still, she ultimately decided to pursue the thing she always wanted. Dispensable to say, it must have been a hard choice to make. Nevertheless, she disassociated Marcos Gutierrez eventually in 2000. After this, she went through with IVF to eventually produce the family she endured for the whole time. She was agitated to have children, but effects didn't go as planned.